Hey guys, Get Level here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a Twitch overlay. I am going to be using Adobe Photoshop, but if you do not have Adobe Photoshop, it's completely fine. You can use Photopea or Photopea.com. Every step of everything I'm going to be doing here can be followed along with Photopea.com. Now I do want to change it up a little bit in order to encourage you to actually get your hands dirty and do the work. I'm going to make the PSD file available, which you can open both with Photoshop and also Photopea, but it will not be free. But don't worry, I'm literally gonna show you step by step how you can make it yourself. Also, it will be very affordable. All right, a quick message from our sponsor and then we can get started. Hey you, are you looking for emotes? Then you need to check out Own's Emote Maker. Check this out. In a couple of clicks, I create one character and then Own generates the rest. All you gotta do is go to own.gg/getlevel, hover over sub emote in badges and click emote maker. So try it out. That is own3d.gg/getlevel. Okay, this is what I made before, but I actually hate it. So let's delete that. Okay, so we have Chocopop open. Yeah, I call it Chocopop. We're gonna create a new canvas. Okay, so click create new. Type in 1920 by 1080 and then 300 for the resolution. That is like HD basically. And then color mode 16-bit will give us a little bit better gradients, for example. If you're using Photopea, make sure you type 300 first and then make sure that you're still at 1920 1080. It tends to change it basically. Okay, boom. Big canvas. Where do we start? Usually, if you're like professional, unlike me, I'm very professional, but I don't work like I don't have a professional workflow. You would pick your color. We're gonna go with something blue because you guys seem to really love it. When I make blue overlays on my gumroad.com/getlevel, the top sold overlays are all blue. All right, so we could go with something like this, maybe something a little brighter. So basically, this is how the professionals do it, okay? And then we're gonna pick our darker tone. And I'm just gonna do this. So I'm just using the brush tool. Like this is not, the tutorial hasn't started yet, okay? This is just my colors, all right? Okay, now I like to start by creating a big rectangle for the background. Why am I using a rectangle when I can just, you know, use the paint bucket tool or 1,000 other different things? It's just because it's easy to change the colors. Once you have a rectangle tool here, you go top right, look at my mouse, and you double click on this and now you can switch the color, okay? We want our color thing to be on top, okay? And double click, pick the right color, okay? We have the right color. This is nice. Okay, now let's create some more rectangles. This is graphic design in a nutshell. Rectangles, rectangles, rectangles. All right, we're gonna create a rectangle that's about 50%. Photoshop actually shows me, you'll see like a purple line show up. But if you don't, just eyeball it, okay? It's not a big deal. It's really not, all right? Eyeball kind of the middle. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna double click here and we are immediately going to get like a couple of shades down like that. Okay, there you go. Cool. Make sure colors are all the way to the top. You can also double click on the text in order to change the name of your layers, which you should do for every single layer, but I never do it, all right? I'm not a good example. Anyways, let's select our background layer. Let's duplicate it just in case we mess up. I hold Alt on my keyboard, click, and then drag drop. Boom, to create a new layer. Control Z in order to undo. And I'm gonna go to effects here. Well, make the top one visible. Effects here, and I'm gonna click on gradient overlay. All right. In order to have this, you want to click on the gradient. So the color is here. You want to pick the one that only has one color, so black into transparent. And then you want to set all the colors to be like the color you want. Let's actually pick this one. And that one also. Okay. And there you go. Nice. Actually, no, let's double click back on it. It's not what I wanted to do at all. We actually want this to be all the way to the top. You can play with the size here. You can make it tiny. You can make it big. You can make it align with the layer. You can reset the alignment so it's middle now. You can reverse it if you want the middle to be like transparent. Anyways, we want like a slight hint of our blue. Doesn't matter that much yet. We're going to go ahead and hold Alt. Remember the duplicate thing? But we're going to do it with the effect. All right. So I'm going to hold Alt here and I'm going to drag it and drop my effect on the bottom rectangle. Nice. Look how good this, I'm kidding. Double click on this and actually move it move it around. Okay, let's move it just a little bit. As you can see, it's not as big. So let's click on align with layer, see what it changed. Nice. Okay, cool. We do want it to be here, but we want it to be less visible. So let's go ahead and do this like that. All right, this probably doesn't make any sense yet, but trust the process. All right, I want to be super bold and I want to go ahead and even start typing my text. Okay, it's gonna say starting soon. We are making an overlay. It's gonna be a starting soon overlay. I just make sure that I select everything and then boom, starting soon. All right, soon. Let me select the soon here and let me pick the color of the soon. All right, no, I don't like those colors actually. It's fine. Boom, let me center it. What you can also do is with the move tool selected, press Ctrl A, it will select the whole canvas, and then you will have those options that will allow you to align middle here or middle there. So vertical or horizontal, not here and there. All right, we want this to be higher. I'm holding Shift in order for it not to move around. It goes straight up, boom. Just like that. And we can select the font. If you don't have cool fonts, go to thefont.com. I'm not affiliated, but that's what I use for my fonts. You usually want something relatively thick for the main message, but that's not necessary. It's not necessary. It depends on the style of what you're choosing. This is where you want to choose, hey, is my stuff going to be bubbly or is it going to be sharp? Is it going to be, futuristic? Is it going to be old school? Okay, so I'm using Frostbite wide and we'll see what that does for us. As you can see, it's extra. It's extra wide. That is because my tracking is wide. So if I go to my character options here, you see it's 140. So it should look more like this to you, but I like to have it wide. If you don't see this, you can go to Windows and then find character. Also, everything is up there here. Okay, let me press enter on this and let me put it to the left, maybe. Cool. You can also, of course, there's the, what is it called? The leading. So the difference between the top row and the bottom row, you can also set that. Okay, so it says starting soon. You can press Ctrl T or Ctrl Alt T if you're using Photopea in order to make this like that. Okay. Okay. Not bad. Or you can go back and make it like centered. I like the centered, I think. Problem with centered is that you quickly run out of stuff to show, basically. So Ctrl A, remember to align it, and then boom, align it horizontally. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm gonna make it a little higher because I do want to have some social media. So we have, a certain style here going on. I personally kind of like it. It's not bad. Let's create a new rectangle by clicking on the rectangle tool here, and let's just drag it all the way across. But we want it to be thin. This is gonna be our social media thingies. You already know how to center it. I don't think I have to tell you again. Let's make it this color right there. Okay, cool. We don't want it to be a rounded rectangle, but we could. Let's keep it straight. So I just aligned it. And what we're going to do now is basically add some social media icons and then, some text to go. That would basically be the tags. So I have my own folder with social media icons. You can download them from Google Images. Just make sure they're transparent PNGs and they're not fake PNGs. But let's say I want to add Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. YouTube is not a social media. I know. Thank you. All right. I want to keep them together. So I'm sure they'll have approximately the same size. Control plus in order to zoom in, Control minus to zoom out, by the way. I just do, I'm so comfortable with Photoshop. I just do this without thinking. And I'm like, wow, I didn't say how to do that. So Control minus there. And you would, in order of importance for you is what you want. Twitter is where I'm the most active. So I want people to see my Twitter. Although YouTube would be the best. So YouTube, Twitter, and then Instagram. Remember, you're going to have the text, so you want to align it with the text and not the actual icons. Like, you're not going to put Instagram here. Doesn't make sense. What are you doing? Okay, like that. Cool. Now, of course, the colors don't match the color scheme that we picked at all. So you want to go and pick YouTube, for example. You want to go all the way down and go to the effects tab and then pick color overlay. And then you pick a color. In my case, we can pick white. White doesn't look that bad, but we're probably going to go with gray so it matches. Or would that work? That would work. That would look very bad, but it would work. Boom. Let's go with the dark gray. And then here again, I can duplicate the effects and add them to other layers by holding Alt, not Alt. and booyah. Well, there you go. Really good. Pick the text tool and then type, I'm just going to type the name of the platforms instead of, you know, here you can change the font to make it look, you know, a little less important because it is less important. The most important thing here is to let people know, hey, your boy is starting soon, or your girl, or everything in between and outside. Or in my case, what I'm going to do is lower the tracking. I want that to be 0. So it's like a little tighter. Just a little tighter. All right. I can duplicate this. So move tool, press V to select the move tool. And then I do this. And then Photoshop tells me, but you can also eyeball it. You can double click on the T here in order to select the text. Control A to select the whole thing. And then type Twitter. Boom. And then do the same thing. I don't think Instagram is going to fit in there, but let's try. Instagram. And it doesn't fit. No biggie. Just move the icon just a little bit. Boom. There you go. And now it fits. All right. So you have your social box. If you want, you can group up everything just to make sure you don't mess it up later. Boom. Control G. I should tell you that. Okay. So I click on one layer. I hold Shift and I click on the one all the way up top. So it selects everything in between. And then I press Control G. And it puts them all in a tiny, neat little group. I check the group to make sure that I didn't put anything accidentally in it. And boom, there it is. There you go. So far, so good. I am realizing that this blue, this darker blue, doesn't really match the whole thing at all unless I add some more of it. But I don't think that's, I don't know. I really don't know. Let's create some more rectangles because this is what graphic design is all about, right? Rectangles. So I'm going to do this rectangle. All right. Make sure it's sharp rectangle. All right. Let's make it like a obnoxious color so you can really see what I'm doing. Okay. Boom. So that's one big rectangle, right? You can't tell me that's not a bright rectangle. So bright rectangle, I just duplicated using the Alt, click and drag. I'm going to rotate this by holding Shift. And I just want to create 45 degrees. That's nice. I just want to create something at the bottom here is what I'm looking at. I want to create some sort of exchange of shapes, if you will. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the bottom, the first one again. And I'm just going to place it right next to that little point. Boom. Zoom in, Control plus. Okay. Make sure it looks good. V to be control. Press V to have the move tool and then place it as you wish with the arrow tools. You see that? That's futuristic right there. That's like easy button for graphic designers. This is futuristic because there's diagonal lines into straight lines and everything's still sharp, okay? Even though this doesn't look like anything. So I'm going to merge all those shapes together. Remember, the top one is selected. I'm going to select the bottom one by, I can't speak. The top one is selected. I'm going to select the bottom one by holding Shift on my on my keyboard. Wow. Right click. Can you tell that I've been recording this like 3 times in a row and deleted the 2 previous ones? Merge shapes. Okay. Control T or Control Alt T if you're using Photopea in order to free transform it. And now we're gonna just, what does that remind you of? Like cyberpunk, right? Cyberpunk probably. Isn't that nice? That's it. You're doing cyberpunk level of graphic design already. Look at you go. All right, just place this. All right, let's double click on, the little icon next to it. Do we have our, oops, it doesn't like that. Let me turn on the color thingy. Make sure it's up top. Okay, now double click on the icon next to the layer. It can be this color. It can be that color. It could actually be that color, but let's keep it that color. I really like the light blue better. It could also be that color, but that doesn't look good because our background is already that. It could also be white. Boom. All right, let's go with that color. Good. Let's duplicate it. Hold Alt, click, drag up. Boom. Control T or Control Alt T if you're using Photopea, because Control T on Chrome is open a new tab, so they can't have it like that. You can rotate it if you want. You can rotate it. Hold Shift to have like increments like that. Boom. So 105 seems to be the correct rotation. And you can have that down here or you can make it up there. It all depends on you. Actually, I don't like that. Right click, vertical, and then rotate it. There you go. So I have one up top right and bottom left for the little thingy here. You hear all those professional terms that I'm using. Remember them, okay? You will be tested. I guess something like that. I'm rushing. I'm eyeballing. I'm rushing. I'm doing everything right now. Okay, cool. You know what? It misses some more. Okay, I'll duplicate more. So we know that's the bottom one because I turned it off and on it again. I'm gonna slide it and holding Alt, that duplicated it. And then I'm gonna maybe play around with this, maybe pick this, pick that, see what's up. White, would that work? Maybe, we'll never know. You can see how dirty my actual rotation is. Let's do this. Let's do the same thing for the other one. Let's do that, double click, make it white, slide it over. Use the arrow keys if you have on your keyboard, if you need to, in your keyboard. Make it look like something decent. And let's do it one more time. We're gonna celebrate. Yeah, this time pick up that gray or that bottom gray because it's darker, I guess. And then we want this to be a little further away. Nice. So top one, boom. You can just pick the color here and then make it like that. We're gonna change the blue in the background because it suddenly doesn't match anymore. I don't know what I was doing when I was picking the colors. This is why I never do this, basically. I never do this color palette thing because professional graphic designer. Even though I am professional graphic designer, there's a lot of things that I just avoid doing. All right, let's go ahead and pick our winning color, which is the light blue. Cool thing here is that there's one main color. So if you pop this in OBS Studio, for example, what you can do is just add a color correction filter and then play with the hue, and you can make it whatever color you want. Boom, you understand what's going on right now? The gradient overlay, I'm changing it to the main color here. You don't even care. All right, so behind all of those, actually let's group those up. Okay, the side, let's group them up together. So I'm gonna have the bottom part, so that's one group, and I'm gonna have the top part, that's another group. Control G to create a group again. Okay, what I thought was bottom was top, and it's always like that. Okay, cool, they're together here. You should probably name them. Top, bottom. Okay, no, don't joke about this type of stuff. Okay, this is serious graphic design business. Top, bottom is not something to joke about. Very serious. Okay, just move this away maybe a little bit. Cool. This is everything but clean. This is not clean, but underneath those two groups, what is this? Oh, it's the text and stuff. I want to add like a rectangle because this is what graphic design is all about. Yes, you know the lesson now. All right, it's gonna look like this. I actually perfectly centered it. I didn't even mean to. Okay, let's make it not rounded because we chose that everything was gonna be sharp. No fill. Okay, so we click on fill. You're like, no, I don't want you fill. And then for the stroke, you want the color white, and then you want it to be like thin. Like one, is one enough? Is one ever enough? That actually looks pretty decent. I don't mind this. I would like it to be thinner though. Let's go with 0.5. Okay, that's not bad. We can even lower the opacity, make it like more grayish than actually white so it doesn't drive the attention too much. That is nice. Okay. What else? What else can we do? The starting soon, I'm going to do something cool to it. I'm going to duplicate it. So hold Alt, drag up. I'm going to press Control T or Control Alt T if you're using Photopea. Flip vertical, so it's upside down. And I'm going to, I should have put all of those together actually. Wait a minute. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Cancel all that. Delete the duplicated thing. You didn't have to delete it. But I want to duplicate this plus the starting soon. So I'm going to Control, click both of those. Alt, drag up. And now I can Control T. Right click, flip vertical. And okay. All right. We're going to pretend there's a reflection going on basically. All right. Now with both of them selected, wait, what's going on with my text though? Yeah, let's just pretend Photoshop is being weird. Photoshop is being weird. With those two selected, I'm going to create its own group. Okay. Control G. So the reflection is going to be the group. I can name it reflection if you want. And I'm going to create a mask. So it's going to create a mask. You'll see next to it, there's a white mask. If I press Alt and click on it, it's going to show me that. The thing is white the thing is white shows and black hides. All right. White reveals, black hides. So everything is white. So my whole group here is visible. So what I can do is go to my gradient tool, right here. Make sure that I have one color going into nothing. So boom, right here I have black. So if I click and then drag, it's gonna add a gradient of black basically. So I'm gonna do this. Hold shift, make sure I'm going straight basically. And I make sure like my mask is selected, okay? Don't put that on anything else. And then I'm gonna do this at the bottom here. Actually, I'm gonna go past it a little bit. That's not bad. If I click Alt and click on my mask, this is what it looks like now, right? Not bad. All right, let's do this. Okay, less visible. We can lower this a little bit. And we can even go wild. We can just like Control T this, and we can right click and pick perspective. Apparently, no, we can't. All right. We could just rasterize the whole thing. Right click, merge group, sorry, just merge it. Now it's pixelated, okay? Keep that in mind. So Control T, right click, perspective, and make it look like it's getting closer to you. Like that, right? Just like that. Okay, we can move it a little bit. Okay, right click, go to free transform, and we want to stretch that. I'm gonna hold shift in order to stretch it a little bit. Stretch it down, stretch it up, you decide. I'm going to play around with the mask even more to make it more visible. And here, for example, if you want to add a little bit of texture, well, if you want to pretend that, you know, the floor here has some texture to it, you can go to filter and then go to, why is it not letting me access filter gallery? Go to filter. Why do I not have access to the filter gallery? That's so weird. All right, doesn't matter. Let's play around a little bit more with this basically, and add more of a gradient, even more. Like that. So it's basically all barely visible. You can lower the opacity even more. We want it to be visible, but we don't want it to grab all the attention, right? All right. So let's pick white as our foreground color. And we're just going to add a tad bit here like that, because we want that part to kind of shine. Alrighty, that's nice. And we can lower the opacity even more. Cool. If you want to, you can add maybe a little bit of blur. Guess that could work. Just a little bit though. All right, it makes it a little glossy. So that's not necessarily a bad look. I don't like how sharp it cuts here. So our rectangle, that is supposed to be the floor basically, we can move that and play around with that a little bit more. And we can also add a mask in order to cut out where it shuts like that. So I added a mask. And I'm going to do the same gradient tool, just very, very short. So black hides. So I'm going to switch to black here. And I'm going to go and do this. Does that look good? It doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to go large actually in order to make it blend in a little bit better. Okay. Okay. I like what I'm seeing. Let's pick a select tool. All right, let's go with an elliptical marquee tool. I'm going to create a new layer. The bottom here, the little plus. Just going to make sure it's on top of our floor. And we're going to do this. Like that. And then we can pick our paint bucket tool. This is all not necessary. This is all just me being extra. Control D to deselect. Let's put it all the way up top so you can really see what I'm doing. So it's here, and then we can just blur it out. Okay, and then put it back right on top of our floor. There we go. Still not completely satisfied with the reflection here. Where is it? Lower the opacity on this shadow that we created. Okay, overall, really not bad, but there's some things that are lacking. The sides right here, they look like they're supposed to be flat design, but they end up, they end up in something that has very smooth shadows and gradients. So maybe not the best choice. We can still play around with this, for example, if we really want like an impact. I think that's pretty cool, actually. Just like that. We can definitely separate them, make them go a little further. Make sure you have the move tool selected here. And then the top one, there you go. Really put them in the corners. Okay, okay. I think that's pretty nice. And then of course you would want to add like more little details, maybe like little subtle things or not, because this is, you know, this is perfectly fine. If you want to be done with it here, like congratulations, you have a pretty decent looking overlay. I don't like the flat dark gray here. So I do want a little bit of gradient. I can duplicate the gradient and then just move it around. Let's see here. Just move it, move it, move it until it's visible, but not too much. Okay, that's nice. And we can duplicate it and on the other one too, on the top one. So hold Alt, click on the effect, drag and drop it, and whoop, Control Z there. Double click on it before you can move the actual gradient. And I picked the wrong one. So let's go ahead and pick the right one. Double click gradient overlay here, and now you can move it around. All right, so we staying in the theme of soft gradients here. All right, and in order to really settle that in, I'm going to add a drop shadow to the lighter part. So for this transition between the light part and the actual overlay here, let's pick one. Which one is that? It's the top one. Let's go bottom here, click drop shadow, and we're going to try to create something that's soft but very visible still. So size, let's bump that up just like that. You see that shadow right there? Not bad. Let's go ahead and duplicate that. And it appears at the bottom too. If we really wanted to, we could also add a shadow between the darker part and the white. Let's see what that would look like. The same shadow, I'm gonna drag and drop it. I don't see where it is. I'm in the top one, maybe the blending mode. Yeah, linear burn is not gonna work on white, so let's put normal and let's increase the opacity. Okay, so there it is. That's nice. I want my black to be actually just like that, to have a little bit of color to it. And we actually want the size to be lower and the opacity too. It all depends on your taste here. I'm not completely sure if I like it, but it's there. So you can add it, continue adding drop shadows. Once you pick the drop shadow life, the soft shadow or soft lighting effects, you're kind of bound to it basically. So boom, drop shadow. And let's see what the same drop shadow would look with the transition between the white and the light blue there. Looks pretty good to me. Let me just make sure that it's either shorter or closer or lower in opacity like that. Here I can actually change the blending mode back to linear burn. So it'll give me a boost in the saturation. I like that. Okay, drop shadow and put it on the one right here. It's barely visible because of the light, but this is good. This is good. All right, you can collapse all of that. Talking about shadows, I think the rectangle here and the text also deserve to have a shadow. So I'm going to click on the starting soon. I'm going to click effects, drop shadow, see what's up. Okay, this is good, but the distance, I really want to show that the light is coming from above. So I want to distance it a little bit more, just like that. Linear burn, so I can lower the opacity even more. So maybe lower the distance slightly. Nice. Okay, we're going to duplicate the same shadow to the box, basically behind our social, or just put it on the group. Boom. Of course, we have to linear burn is so much. Let's just lower it. And let's actually like lower the distance. There you go. Now, if I really wanted to go extra, okay, and this would be like destructive, so it's not, it might not be the best to replicate. If I really wanted to go extra, what I can do is Control A, Control Shift C, which will copy everything that's visible, and then Control V. So on top of everything, I have one layer that is basically a copy of everything just merged together. And then here, I could go and add a blur filter. Right? All right, just not too much blur, just enough. And that is like kind of an advanced step, I guess. All right. And the goal here is to pick a blending mode that is lighter than the original. So top here is going to be darker, here is going to be lighter, and here it's going to be like both basically. And then those are different. But let's find something that seems lighter. So lighten, that works. Screen is a little too much. Color dodge is pretty good. Linear is too much. Lighter color would be the best, but I really like color dodge right there. Okay, and don't panic yet. Don't panic yet. Now we're gonna create a mask, which creates like a big, white to reveal the whole thing. We can press Control I in order to change that. So in order to view your mask, you can press Alt and then click on the mask. That's what I did. So I'm gonna press Alt and click again. And as you can see, it disappeared. If I press Control I again, it reveals it. It disappeared. And now with the brush tool, I can go ahead and basically paint over my mask everywhere that I want that soft glow to show up, right? So if I go here, of course, pick the appropriate brush. My hardness is too much here. I usually lower the opacity of my brush just to make sure that it's organic, but you can go here and do this. You can lower the flow if you want to also. Of course, if you're doing this with a graphics tablet, it'll be way better. But let me go closer and show you. So you draw the glow yourself, basically. And it gives you a better glow than any just, filter that you can add, because this one feels more organic, especially if you follow the direction of the light. It's coming from top here. It's going to look better. It doesn't need to be perfect. Take your time. Of course, I'm just doing this as an example. And you can also control the radius. Like if you want a big glow, you can also make that happen. Get my opacity higher just so I can go faster. And then here you can see it affects the blue, which in my opinion looks really good. This is not like non-destructive, because if I want to change the font, I have to do this whole step again. So it's not the best technique. It's like kind of like final touches. Like if you're doing this for a client and you want to send it to a client, like it's always good to do this. But you know that if the client is like, oh, can you change the text? You're going to have to do this whole step over and over again. You can't just change the text and it will adapt. Right? This is what we added just to look a little bit better. You can actually add a blur to the mask if you wanted to. See, this is what we did. With the mask selected, you can go to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur just to make it look more even, especially if you're working with your mouse. There you go. So it's super subtle, but it's so organic, It's super organic. Let me go ahead with a big brush because I like that color that it gave me up top here. Let me go ahead with a big brush here. There you go. And let me add some of that. I'm just clicking and clicking and clicking. There you go. And if you want some on the sides also. Now, not everywhere is affected, but it's always good to even try. Here's what the mask looks like, but here it is. And if you want to lower the opacity of the mask, you can also do that. All right, so now you have your glow on a separate thing. You can also go back and paint in black with it too. You just switch out the colors here or press X and you can lower the amount. All right, I believe this is it. Okay, now I will make this available for a very cheap price on gumroad.com/getlevel. The goal here is not necessarily to make money off of you, is to really make sure that you don't just wait for me to give you free stuff after I spend that much time teaching you how to do it. Actually go on Photopea if you don't have Photoshop. Actually open up Photoshop if you have Photoshop and learn how to do this stuff. It will be more beneficial for you, okay? But if you really want to be lazy and just get the PSD and change the text, well, you're gonna have to pay for it. The first step that you will want to do is download the font and then install the font. What font did I use? Frostbite Wide. I will put a link in the product description on gumroad.com. So just click on the link, download the font, install it, and then open up the PSD. PSD file, if you want to open it in Photopea, that also works. You will just need to learn how to add the font in Photopea. That's it. Actually, let me show you. Actually, let me save this first. Let's call this one glass. So in Photopea, you will want to go and just create a new project just so I can show you how to add the font. And with the text tool selected here, so type tool, I guess, go to the font list and then click load font. And then you're going to go find that font that you installed. So it's right there. Frostbite wide is what I used, and click open. And it's going to load it up. It's like, hey, do you want me to keep it? And you're going to be yes. I didn't even get to click yes, but okay. Now you're going to go file, open, and find the PSD that you download from gumroad.com/getlevel. Gumroad.com/getlevel. I need to articulate. And as you can see here, glass overlay by getlevel. Click open. And would you look at that? Now remember that layer, that top layer there, the glow layer, you can't just change anything, but you'll find the starting soon if you want that to be right back, actually. Maybe without the space. Let's make this white. You can select it and make it white. Anyways, as you can see, after you loaded the font, everything is just here. You can do whatever you want. Now the glow layer is going to look like this now because it wasn't set to do that. But hey, I showed you how to do it in Photoshop. Same thing for Photopea. Control A, Control Shift C, Control V, blur, filter, Gaussian blur, just a little bit of blur, not too much blur, about 5 pixels. Click OK. Blending mode, you want that to be linear burn. Or was linear? No, sorry, linear dodge. Was it linear dodge? Color dodge. Okay, there you go. Create a mask. Make the mask inverted. Control I. Boom. And then go with your brush and do whatever you got to do. Hardness 0. Sure, it's a soft brush. Lower the opacity a lot. Lower the flow if you have to. And just paint. Make sure you have white selected and make sure you have the mask selected. All right, I'm actually going to put this really well here so you can really see it fast. Boom. So you can recreate the effect if you want, just like that. Make this big. Boom, and now you have it for the Be Right Back. Easy clap. Same thing with Photoshop, obviously. All right, hopefully this wasn't too hard to follow. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I think I will finally actually do some basic Photoshop tutorials at some point because it's time for you to learn, okay? I think we're at that point. I keep giving you hints on, hey, here's how to do that, here's how, but you still don't know the basics. I'm gonna do a video on the basics. If you would like to see that, please leave a comment, let me know. But once again, the PSD file will be available at gumroad.com/getlevel. It is not free, but then again, I just showed you how to make the whole thing step by step. You shouldn't need it. If you still decide to get it from gumroad.com/getlevel, make sure that you read the product description, okay? Very important. Read it top to bottom, read everything before you buy, before you download, even if it was free. Just read everything before you know what you're getting into, okay? And if you're actually looking for like easy templates, you can use placeit.net. Those are pre-made. All you have to do is put your name, put your logo, choose your colors, and then you're ready to go. All in a browser. Most of them are animated and look amazing. You can get 15% off by using my link in the description. That is at placeit.net, okay? And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching the video. Go out there, make me proud, get level, out. Why am I counting?